Welcome to Toy Polloi.
Hello and welcome to another video from Toy Polloi. Over the weekend I headed down to Fordingbridge to the retro toy fair run by All the Cool Things. It's a fairly small toy fair dedicated to Star Wars, and as you can see there weren't a huge amount of stalls, but there was an awful lot of vintage Star Wars to take a look at. Many of the items were top of the range sort of collectibles. The prices were way out of my league, and as you can see there were many vintage carded figures and vintage graded carded figures to check out. It's always nice to see a vintage cardboard Polloi Death Star on display, and this was a particularly nice one that had its own acrylic case to keep it nice and safe. There was also a guy selling some custom Star Wars figures, and the Generation Skywalker stall had some really unique and sort of fairly odd pieces that caught my eye. Only a couple of stalls actually had any loose vintage Star Wars stuff, and those are the pieces that I generally tend to check out because that's what most of my collection contains. There was one stall near the door that did have a fair amount of loose vintage stuff and a few nice pieces that caught my eye, so I did actually pick up one piece that I needed for my collection. At the far end of the hall there was a small selection of unproduced prototype Star Wars toys. That was actually quite interesting to look at because you get to see how these things are developed, and the ones that don't actually get to make it to the toy shelves. The highlight of the show for me had to be meeting Bob Breaking, who was one of the chief toy designers at Polloi. We had a really nice chat and I was able to give him a copy of my book, which actually features many of the toys that he worked on. So it was a real highlight for me to chat with him, give him a copy of my book, and he even asked me to sign my book for him, which was quite an honour. Right, well I am back home now, so what did I get? The answer is not a lot. I have to say most of the stuff there was sort of the premium end of the market. There was very little that was at an affordable price for me, and certainly I thought it was a bit of a shame because there were lots of people there with kids and there was no sort of rummage boxes or anything like that for the kids to sort of rummage through and buy cheap Star Wars figures. Everything was sort of in the tens to hundreds of pounds, so on that side of things I thought it was a little bit of a disappointing show, but I still managed to find a couple of bits. I picked up these, which are some coin purses from 1983. So these are rubber coin purses. You're supposed to sort of split them open and put your coins inside. I think you can thread a cord through there. These were on the Generation Skywalker stand. They were £5 each. They actually had a whole load of them, different characters from Star Wars on them. They look like they are unused shop stock, so I bought a Chewbacca one and I bought a Darth Vader one. As I say, these were £5 each. Just sort of unique items. I think I'm actually going to use these as gifts for friends who really like Star Wars. So if you're a friend of mine, you may be getting these as a gift at some point. I just think they're pretty cool things, so I bought those. And then there was another store that had a few sort of cheaper bits of Star Wars stuff, and I picked up myself one of these, which is the little backpack for Yoda and Luke Skywalker on Dagobah. I've got a few sort of Luke figures and a few Yodas that could do with these. These were £5 as well, so I just grabbed one of those, and I've got my little Yoda here, and he can slot inside, and then we'll bring a Luke Skywalker in and get him all set up. You sort of see these fairly regularly. I probably could have picked one up online, but as there was one there, I just grabbed it, and it means that I can actually sort of finish off another figure. You know, they look quite cool when they're all sort of dressed up like this. Oh, I've got to get his arm through, haven't I? You've got to sort of do it in the right order. So yeah, I just picked up one of those just to finish off a couple of figures that I wanted to have on display. But as I say, otherwise, I thought generally it was fairly expensive stuff. They're all top-end items and not the sort of thing I would collect. It was also a pretty long journey down there, so for me a little bit of a disappointing day. So although it wasn't the greatest of day for me, I still did manage to come away with a few items. I'm particularly happy with these little coin purses. They are just very odd, and I think they will make nice gifts for friends. And as you can see, Luke I've now got set up as well, so he's got Yoda in his little backpack there. The fair itself, for Star Wars collectors of sort of the high-end items, is probably well worth going because there were some really nice pieces there. But for people like me who collect the low end of stuff and the cheap stuff, there really wasn't a great deal to be seen, but still nice to get out and still nice to see a load of Star Wars pieces. Hopefully this video has been of interest to you. If it has, then make sure to click the subscribe button and tap the bell to be notified each time I upload a new video, and thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching Toy Polloi. Subscribe for more great videos. You can also follow Toy Polloi on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.